In 2006, employees at 3 different car dealerships in Florida, one in Venice, one in Sarasota, and one in Jacksonville, they all decided that they all wanted to contribute money to one particular congressional campaign. Employees of those dealerships, their spouses, their relatives, their business partners, all struck with the same idea at roughly the same time. The Federal Election Commission is now asking a court to impose a fine of almost $68,000 on one of those dealerships, the one in Jacksonville, the one that used to be called Buchanan-Jenkins Hyundai. The FEC alleging that the employees at that dealership weren't all just struck at the same time with the same idea to donate to that congressional campaign. They were actually pushed, forced to make those campaign donations, and then the dealership reimbursed them. So, in effect, the dealership was sending tens of thousands of dollars to a congressional campaign, but it was forcing its employees to be middlemen, to let the dealership launder that corporate donation through the employees, which is gross. Whose congressional campaign was this? A man named Vern Buchanan. Buchanan as in Buchanan-Jenkins Hyundai, the name of that dealership in Jacksonville. Mr. Buchanan owned a stake in that dealership. He has since sold it. The dealership has changed its name, but at the time of the donations, he was the muckety-muck there. His old business partner, the majority owner of the dealership, says he admits the company reimbursed the employees for those donations. But he says they only did so because Vern Buchanan told them to. He said it was a directive issued by Buchanan. Congressman Buchanan, he's now a congressman because he won the election with the help of all those donations. A spokesman for Congressman Vern Buchanan calls the forcing the employee donations allegation false. He says the dealership owner, his ex-business partner, is just lashing out because he owes him money. Vern Buchanan is also denying similar allegations raised in 2008 about 2 more car dealerships he owned, the ones in Venice and Sarasota. 2 former employees from those businesses saying they were also pressured to donate to Vern Buchanan's campaign, and then they were offered reimbursement by the dealership for their donations. The congressman calls both of those people disgruntled employees. The congressman's office also had no comment when Vern Buchanan conveniently failed to file in a timely fashion the required federal paperwork that showed he had refunded $5,000 in contributions to 5 more employees who, you guessed it, claimed they had been pressured to contribute to his campaign. Delaying that filing meant that voters didn't learn about that unpleasantness until 7 months after they had reelected him in 2008, 7 months after. Congressman Vern Buchanan is the finance guy for the Republican Party's House Campaign Committee this year. That means he is responsible for fundraising for Republican House candidates. So a scandal like this, allegations like this from the FEC, are a mess for Vern Buchanan and for the Republican Party, counting on him to not be a scandal for every other House Republican. Even though he's now accused of shaking down employees from one end of his state to the other, forcing them to be a pass-through for corporate donations that would look as illegal as they were if there weren't these employees in the middle being forced to pretend it was their money and not the company's. So Vern Buchanan and the Republican House Campaign Committee have a scandal on their hands, accused of covering up illegal corporate donations. Want to know what the bigger scandal is? The bigger scandal is that at the state level in Florida, what this congressman is accused of doing illegally has just been legalized. You no longer have to go through this whole song and dance if you serve at the State House in Tallahassee. Corporations now can just make unlimited payments to state legislators in Florida through something called leadership funds. The Republican-led legislature passed this unlimited corporate donations thing when Charlie Crist used to be governor, and he vetoed it. But Charlie Crist is now gone. St. Petersburg Times denouncing this as legalized bribery in the state of Florida. They've also just done something similar in Tennessee. Tennessee's Republican governor this week signing a new law that lets corporations in Tennessee contribute directly to state and local political campaigns. He signed into law that bill on the same day he stripped Tennessee teachers of their union rights and banned their existing unions from making campaign donations. So corporations cannot donate. Corporations can donate, but unions cannot. Corporations can donate, but unions cannot. See, we can't have unions donating money like that. That would be very, very corrupting.